Good evening, everyone. Our topic for today is photosynthesis. Let us go to our introduction. Introduction. Photosynthesis is a process by which plants, some bacteria, and some protista convert light energy, which is from the sun, into chemical energy, which is the food. They produce food for themselves and to feed the consumers who cannot make their own food. And example po nun is tayong humans. Oxygen, also essential for life, is a product of photosynthesis. Yon. Si photosynthesis nga po, hindi lang food making yung process, yung product na nabubuo kay photosynthesis. Isa rin pong product ni photosynthesis is the oxygen na kailangan din natin. Next po is objectives. Name the factors important to the making food processes. Describe the chloroplast. Name the pigments and describe how pigments organize in order to trap sunlight. Differentiate light-dependent reaction from the light-independent reaction of photosynthesis. And correlate the internal structure of the leaves to the food-making process of plants. Yan po yung mga malalaman natin within our discussions. Next is the outline topics. The meaning of photosynthesis, the name, the pigments, and describe how pigments are organized in order to trap sunlight efficiently. The meaning of sunlight, correlate the internal structure of the leaves to the food-making process of plants. Differentiate light-dependent reaction from light-independent reaction of photosynthesis. Discuss the Calvin cycle. Discussion. Photosynthesis takes the carbon dioxide produced by all breathing organisms and reintroduce oxygen into the atmosphere. It is the process used by plants, algae, and certain bacteria to harness energy from sunlight and turn it into chemical energy. Yun. Si photosynthesis nga po, ang ginagamit niya is the carbon dioxide as well as the water para makapag-produce ng oxygen sa ating atmosphere. Itong process na ito ay ginagamit ng mga plants and some bacteria. Gathering the components of sunlight para mai-produce nila as chemical energy na yun nga pong food. Next po. Yan. You can see in the pictures the process of photosynthesis. Okay. Pigments. Pigments also absorb light rays of certain wavelength. In plants, algae, and cyanobacteria, pigments capture the energy of sunlight and use it in photosynthesis. Each pigment absorbs only certain rays of light. Plant possess several kinds of pigments. Yan. Si pigments po, makikita nyo dito sa picture na ina-absorb niya yung light rays na galing sa sun. Ngayon, si pigments nga po yung may iba't ibang kulay. Yung kulay na nagbibigay sa isang halaman or nagbibigay ng kulay sa halaman. Itong pigments, kinakapture niya yung energy nga na galing sa sunlight para sa pag-process ng photosynthesis. Okay, next po is the three basic groups of plant pigments. One is chlorophyll. Chlorophyll are green pigments which contain a ring that allows electron to move freely so the molecule can gain or lose electrons easily. Yan. Si chlorophyll po, yan po yung example ng chlorophyll. You can see in the picture the example of the chlorophyll, which is color green. Nagbibigay po siya ng color green sa plants. At itong si chlorophyll, inaalaw niya yung electron para maka-gain and lose ng electrons. Next po is carotenoids. Carotenoids are usually red, orange, and yellow pigments. These compounds are composed of two small 6-carbon rings connected by a chain or carbon atoms. Yan. You can see in the picture na si carotenoids po ay usually makikita natin sa tomato, sa banana, and minsan po sa sili. Ito pong si carotenoids ay kinokompose ng dalawang 6-carbon rings na connected siya sa carbon atoms. Ayan po. Next is phycobilin. Phycobilins are water-soluble pigments and are found in the cytoplasm or in the stoma of the chloroplast. Yan. You can see in the picture that phycobilins are, example of this is the plant siya na nasa under the water. Siya ay pigments na nag-iiba-ibang kulay because siya nga ay water-soluble. Makikita mo lang siya under the water. Makikita mo to sa cytoplasm or kaya sa stroma sa loob ng chloroplast. Okay. Sunlight. All processes that occur in living and non-living system requires energy. Yan. Si sunlight nga po, is requirement talaga siya sa lahat ng living and non-living things. Para makaprovide tayo ng energy. And photosynthesis is no exception. The energy that comes from the sun is called solar energy. It travels as wave and is described in terms of its energy content and its wavelength. It comes from a discrete packets called photons. Yan. Si photosynthesis, yung main components talaga niya is the sunlight. Ang main components talaga niya is the sunlight na tinatawag natin na solar energy. Tinatravel si sunlight from the sunlight to the chloroplast and doon pinaprocess ni photosynthesis. And yon ay nakalagay sa mga discrete packets na tinatawag natin na photons. Yung component ng solar energy, ang importante sa sunlight na nakukuha natin sa solar energy is the visible light. Okay, next po. Let us go to the components of solar energy. I have here pictures of components of solar energy. The components of solar energy before the visible light have short wavelengths such as gamma rays, X-rays, and ultraviolet rays. You do not see them. Short wavelengths components have more energy. Short wavelengths components have more energy. Those components after the visible light have long wavelength. These are also invisible to our naked eyes. They possess less energy. Yan. Dito po sa components of solar energy, makikita nyo sa left and right side niya, meron siyang dalawang klase. The short wavelengths and the long wavelengths. Ang importante na components para sa photosynthesis, mas madaming compound. Ang importante sa components ng photosynthesis is the short wavelengths. Because mas madami siyang components compare sa long wavelengths. And nakikita nyo sa picture na meron siyang visible light, which is the color violet, blue, blue-green, green, yellow, orange, and red. Yan yung mga nakikita natin, usually nakikita ng mata natin. And itong X-rays, ultraviolets, and infrared, hindi siya visible sa ating mata. Okay, next po is, let us proceed to the leaf. The leaf. Plant leaves absorb sunlight to manufacture plant sugars through a process called photosynthesis. Yan. Si leaf nga po yung taga-absorb ng sunlight, taga-absorb ni photosynthesis ng sunlight para sa pagpaprocess niya. Next is the leaf parts. The leaf is attached by a petiole. The base of the petiole is attached to the node of the system. Yan. Makikita nyo na dito sa picture na ang leaf niya ay naka-attach doon sa petiole. Alin ba yung petiole? Yung petiole ay yung maliit na from the stem to the leaf, yun yung nagdudugsong. You can see it in the picture. And next is the blade is a thin expanded structure on either side of the midbrain and is the largest part of the leaf. Yan. Si blade nga po is yung nasa paligid ng dahon na may iba't ibang structure. Meron siyang gilay-gilay. Siya yung pinakamalaking parte ng dahon. Next po is, you can also see a pair of appendages at the base of the petiole called stipules. Yan. Di ba po, stem sa baba. Tapos, yung stipule, yung nagdudugsong sa stem at sa dahon. Before po that, makikita nyo yung dalawang dahon na maliit, tinatawag po natin siyang stipules. Next po is, small knitted veins and veins are either parallel or knitted in pattern depends on type of plant. Yan. Makikita nyo po sa entire leaf, yung parang structure siya na may iba't ibang way. Ang tinatawag po natin doon is yung knitted veins and veins. Next po is the leaf structure. There are three types of leaf structure. The simple leaf, compound leaf, and the double compound leaf. Simple leaves have a single blade. Yan, you can see in the picture na yung blade niya is diretso lang. Wala na siyang gilay-gilay pa. Next po is compound leaves. Have more than one blade on a single petiole. The multiple blades of a compound leaf are called leaflets. Yan, dito po sa second picture, makikita nyo na yung dahon niya is meron na siyang mas madami na yung blade niya, yung sa tagiliran ng dahon is madami na. Tapos yung blade na yon, yung maraming blade na yun sa gilid, tinatawag natin siyang leaflets. Next po is double compound leaf. Double compound leaf are twice divided. The leaflets are arranged along a secondary vein, which is one of the several veins branching off the middle vein. Yan. Si compound leaf nga po, yung kanyang mga dahon is nahati na into two. And yung leaflets niya ay arranged na sa secondary vein. Yung mga branches niya is madami na. Yan po. Let's proceed to the leaf attachment. Petiolate. The blade is attached by the stem by a petiole. Yan. Makikita niyo po dito, yung attachment ng leaf niya is may petiole pa siya. Stem, petiole, and the leaf. Yan. May petiole po na nagdudugsong within the stem and the leaf. Ang tawag po natin dun ay petiolate. Next po is the sessile. Sessile, the blade is attached directly to the stem without a petiole. Yan, makikita nyo nga po sa picture na yung pagkadahon niya is wala na siyang petiole. After the stem, dahon na agad. Nakadikit na talaga yung dahon dun sa stem. Wala nang nagdudugsong sa kanya. Ang tawag po sa kanya ay sessile. Next po is the leaf arrangements. Yan. There are three types of leaf arrangement. The alternate, opposite, and the whorled. Yan. The leaves grow opposite each other at each node. Yan. Dito po kay alternate, yung kanyang dahon is opposite na po yung pagkatubo niya, opposite po siya. Dito naman kay opposite, one leaf grows at each node. The leaves alternate sides along the stem. Yan. Makikita nyo dito sa picture na yung dahon niya is dalawa sa isang node. May tumutubo pa dun sa isang node. Tapos yung leaves niya is alternate within the stem. Sa whorled naman po, several leaves grow around the single node. Yan, makikita nyo sa isang node, may time na 4. Depende po yan sa plants. Ang tawag po dyan ay whorled. Leaf shapes. Yan. Si linear po, there are 6 types of leaf shapes. Linear, lanceolate, oblong, elliptical, ovate, and cordate. The first one is the linear. Narrow from base to tip. Yan, makikita nyo po dun sa first picture na talagang from base to tip, patusok lang siya. Siya ay narrow lang. Next po is the lanceolate. The leaves are oblong to oval and are about 10 cm or 3.9 inches long. Yan, makikita nyo po doon sa dahon ng lanceolate na siya ay paoblong yung ano niya, pero mahaba siya. Okay, next po is oblong. Rounded at each end with parallel side. Yan, makikita nyo po dito sa picture na yung style ng pagkadahon niya is pabilog lang siya na mahaba. And congruent po yung kanyang both sides. Next po is elliptical. Oval-shape naman to. Si elliptical naman, malaki lang siya. Siya ay pa-round lang na oval-shape yung pagkaano ng dahon niya. Next po is ovate. Wide at the base and narrow at the tip. Yan, makikita niyo po sa picture na si ovate, dito sa pinaka-base niya, parang pa-wide lang siya. And pagdating na sa taas, patusok na po siya. Yun po ay shape na ovate. The last one is cordate. Heart shape. Yan, si cordate naman po ay pa-heart shape lang yung style ng pagkadahon niya. Just like the gabi. Okay po. Next is leaf margin. There are 5 types of leaf margin. I have here 5 types of leaf margin. Entire, serrate, crenate, lobe, and parted. The entire is, the edge of the leaf is smooth. Yan. Dito po sa entire leaf, ang best example dito is the rubber plants. Kasi smooth lang talaga yung pagkadahon niya. Wala siyang kahit anong doon. Next is the serrate. The edge of the leaf is finely toothed. Yan. Makikita nyo po dun sa gilid-gilid niya na talagang magaspang siya. Marami siyang blade and yung pagkadahon niya is magaspang na. Next is crenate. The edge has round indentations. Yan, yung gilid ng pagkadahon ni crenate is parang pabilog-bilog lang siyang ganun. Pa-curve-curve lang. Next is lobe. The edge of the leaf is deeply indented. Yan. Indented. And si lobe, meron na siyang pa-curve din siya, pero mas malalim ng konti compare kay crenate. Next is, has an indention or indentions that go more than halfway to the leaf midrib or midline. Yan. Ito po is si parted. Yung last na example natin sa picture. Si parted naman, yung pagka-indent nung margin niya, ay sobrang, as in malapit na siya dun sa node, sa node niya, sa node ng pinaka-leaf. Malalim na talaga yung pagkauka sa kanya sa gilid-gilid. Okay po. Next is the inside of the leaf. I have here pictures and I want you to take a look at this while I am reading. You can see in this layer of cell sandwiched by the lower and upper epidermis. This is called mesophyll layer, which is composed of palisade cells, arranged like columns, and spaghe cells, ay loosely arranged cells. Yan, makikita nyo nga po dito sa picture na para siyang inayos na cells. Yung pagkaka-layer sa kanya is talagang arranged na arranged. And dito sa baba, makikita nyo yung loosely arranged na cells ay spongy cells siya. These cells have organelles that contain green pigments. Yan, these organelles are called chloroplasts. Yan, makikita nyo nga dito sa na siya ay green. Green talaga. Siya yung tinatawag natin na chloroplast. Chloroplast contains pigment that trap energy from the sun. Sabi ko nga kanina, si chlorophyll ay yung nagko-contain ng pigments. Siya ay example ng pigment natin kanina. Siya yung nagtatrap ng energy from the sun. At the lower epidermis, you will see some openings. Yan, makikita nyo po dito sa baba yung parang bilog-bilog sa baba na parang entry point. Each opening is called stomata. Makikita nyo po sa picture kung na sa baba, yun po yung stomata. This is where carbon dioxide enter and oxygen pass out. Yan. Dito nga po sa stomata, dito lumalabas yung carbon dioxide. Dito pumapasok si carbon dioxide at dito naman lumalabas si oxygen. So, siya po yung entry point and exit point ng chloroplast. Next po is the guard cell. The guard cell is an epidermal cell with chloroplast. It is the only epidermal cell that can carry out photosynthesis. It regulates the opening and the closing of the stoma. Yon. Kung kanina nga po, nasabi ko na si stoma is the entry and exit point ng carbon dioxide and oxygen. Ngayon, si guard cell naman, yung parang nagko-control sa stomata. Siya ang nagre-regulate kung siya yung epidermal cell na nagre-regulate ng pagbukas at pagsara ng stomata. Next po is thylakoid. Pigments from cluster of 2 to 3 pigment molecules arranged around a pair of chlorophyll molecules. Some proteins are also found in this cluster. Yan, makikita nyo po sa picture yung picture ng chloroplast. Sa loob ni chloroplast, makikita nyo si thylakoid. Si thylakoid, makikita nyo po dito sa picture yung thylakoid. Yan, thylakoid space po. Yan po yung thylakoid. And, meron siyang cluster ng 2 to 3 pigments molecules. And makikita nyo na siya ay arranged din. Next po is photosystem. The outer pigments of the photosystem act like an antenna shuttling photons into chlorophyll, in the reaction centers. Yan. Si photosystem naman po, siya yung outer pigments na siya yung parang antenna na nagko-control sa photons na nasa chlorophyll. Yan po. Makikita nyo po dyan sa picture yung na siya yung sa reaction center, siya po yung antenna na nagko-control. Siya po ay nasa loob ng thylakoid membrane. Next is photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. There are two types of photosystem. Photosystem 1 absorbs red light at about 700 nanometer and its primary reaction center is the special chlorophyll that called P700. Si photosystem 2 naman is absorb more orange light at 680 nanometer and its primary reaction center is the special chlorophyll called P680. Yan. Si photosystem 1, siya po yung tagapag-absorb ng red light. Na tinatawag yung primary reaction center po na tinatawag na P700. Sa photosystem 1 po yon. Sa photosystem 2 naman po is siya yung absorber ng orange light na tinatawag naman na P680, yung special chlorophyll na primary reaction center. A water splitting complex is associated with photosystem 2. Yan. Makikita niyo po dito sa picture na yung water splitting complex po ay associated talaga sa photosystem 2. Next po is chloroplast. Structure within the cells of plants and green algae that is the site of photosynthesis, the process by which light energy is converted to chemical energy, resulting in the production of oxygen and energy-rich organic compounds. Yan. Si chloroplast nga po, yung cells ng plants na ito yung nagtatrabaho talaga sa process ng photosynthesis. Ito yung site ng photosynthesis. Pinaprocess yung light energy and kinoconvert na ito into chemical energy which is the food. Okay po. And nagre-result din po ito sa production ng oxygen and energy-rich organic compounds. Next po is light-independent reaction. Light-independent reaction is the first phase of photosynthesis. In the previous lesson, we learned that pigment molecules form cluster called photosystem. The outer pigment serves as antenna for the collecting solar energy. The energy is passed from the pigment to pigment until it is concentrated at the special chlorophyll. Yung sinabi nga po natin kanina na P700 at saka P680. A part of the primary reaction center. Yan, si light dependent naman po. Siya yung unang phase ng photosynthesis. 'Di ba sinabi kanina dun sa una nating kanina dun sa discussion natin na yung pigment ay nagpo-form ng cluster na tinatawag naman na photosystem. Yung outer naman ng pigments ay yun naman yung antena na nagko-control sa mga electrons. And yung energy na pumupunta dun sa pigment to pigment, yun yung tinatawag na natin na special chlorophyll. Yan, makikita niyo po dyan sa picture yung light reaction at saka yung light dependent in stromata. Yan po yung process. Next po is cyclic electron flow. The electrons left the electron transport system with very low energy. The low energy electrons return to photosystem 1 and repeat the cycle when the system absorbs solar energy. Yan. Si electrons nga po, siya ay naiiwan doon sa system kapag yung energy niya is very low. Then, siya ay bumabalik sa photosystem 1. And nauulit lang siya kapag nakapag-absorb na ulit siya ng bagong solar energy. The flow from high concentration to low concentration through a special protein called ATP. Synthesized complex. Yan. Yung flow nga po na yon from high concentration to low concentration. Ini-specialize niya yung protein na tinatawag natin na ATP. Ano ba si ATP? Si ATP ay yung phosphate atom na nagke-carry na ng energy na ginagamit nga para sa stage ng photosynthesis. Tapos, yan po. Next po is the thylakoid space. As hydrogen ions flows from inside of thylakoid to the stroma, ATP is synthesized. Yan, makikita nyo po dito sa picture na si hydrogen ion, simula dito sa stroma, siya po ay nagko-combine with ATP. Si ATP nga po ay si phosphate atom. Since ATP is synthesized in the presence of light, the cyclic electron flow is also called cyclic photophosphorylation. Yan. Yung si ATP nga po, siya po ay may presence na ng light. And dito sa cyclic electron flow na to, tinatawag din siya na cyclic photophosphorylation. Next is, if photosynthesis 2 antenna complex absorbs solar energy, the high energy electrons leave the reaction center where chlorophyll and molecules are found and the enter electron transport system. Yan. Sa photosynthesis 2, yung antenna complex ng antenna is yun nag-absorb ng solar energy. Yung high energy ng electrons, naiiwan yon sa reaction center. Kung saan makikita natin yung chlorophyll na nasa molecules. Makikita natin yan sa electron transport system. Here, energy is released as electrons are passed from one carrier to another. Yan. Makikita nyo nga po dito sa picture na si electron is magpapasalin-salin na dyan. Next is the release of energy is stored in the form of hydrogen ion gradient. This gradient is used by the enzyme ATP synthase complex to derive the synthesis of ATP. Yan, yung nire-release na energy, marirestore yan sa hydrogen gradient. Makikita nyo po yan dito sa picture. Then, yung gradient na yon ay gagamitin ng enzyme at saka ni ATP synthesis complex. Combine na po yun. Non-cyclic electron flow. Yan. This non-cyclic electron flow is also called the C pathway or non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Yan, ito po yung non-cyclic electron flow, tinatawag din siya na C pathway. The electrons lost at photosynthesis 2 are replenished by a reaction involving water. Water splits in the presence of light. This is called photolysis. Ayan, makikita nyo po dito sa baba, photosynthesis 2, na yung mga nawawalang electrons, nire-replenish siya ng reaction involving, ng reaction center with the use of water. And, water splits in the presence of light. Yan. Kasi nga, may light na dito, pinipresent niya yung water splits dahil sa light. This is called, tinatawag natin yung photolysis. It happens at the system associated with photosynthesis 2. Yun, nangyayari nga po yun sa photosynthesis 2. Makikita nyo po dito yan sa picture. The synthesis of ATP through cyclic or non-cyclic photophosphorylation is tied up to the hydrogen ion gradient. Yan, yung this mechanism of ATP production is called chemiosmosis. Chemiosmosis. Yan. Yung pinagsama nga natin po kanina, pinag-combine natin na ATP dito sa cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation is tied na siya into hydrogen gradient. Yung mechanism na to, yung mechanism ng ATP na yan ay tinatawag nating chemiosmosis. Chemiosmosis. Next po is the Calvin cycle. 3 turns of Calvin cycles are necessary to produce one net gain of pigal. Ano ba si pigal? Si pigal is phosphoglyceraldehyde. Siya po ay pinoproduce ni Calvin cycle para makaform siya ng phosphorylation and reduction of PGA by ATP and NADPH respectively, which are produced in the light reaction. Yan po si pigal, phosphoglyceraldehyde. 5 pigal molecules are needed to regenerate 3 molecules of RUBP. Ano naman po si RUBP? Si RUBP naman po ay si ribulose biphosphate. Ito po yung carbon compound na ini-involve din dito kay Calvin cycle. The 3 turns use up 9 molecules of ATP and 6 molecules of NADPH. Yan, makikita po natin dito sa cycle na yung 3 turns nga po ay ginagamitan ng 9 molecules ng ATP at 6 na molecules ng NADPH. Si ATP nga po uli ay si phosphate atom and si NADPH naman po is the hydrogen atom. Pigal is a substance used by plants to make other organic substances. Si pigal po ay ginagamit ni plants para makabuo ng organic substances. Next po is to make 1 glucose molecule ay 6 carbon sugar, 2 molecules of pigar are linked. This means 6 turns of Calvin cycle. Yan nga po, nabuo na natin si cycle. Para makabuo nga tayo ng glucose molecule, kailangan natin ng 6 na carbon sugar. 2 molecules ng pigal na pagsasamahin natin na para mabuo natin yung 6 turn of Calvin cycle. Okay po. Okay, that's all po. Thank you po. Sana po may natutunan kayo. Have a nice day po.